Welcome back to American Visa Updates. If you are a green card holder waiting for a green card on a work visa, a student visa, or part of a mixed status family, I want you to listen very carefully to today's video. Because what we are going to talk about is not rumor, not social media panic, and not political noise. It is about real regulatory changes expected to take effect in 2026 that could directly affect your immigration status in the United States, especially if you fail to comply with updated green card rules. Now, before we go any further, let me be very clear about something. This video is general information only. It is meant to educate and protect you. It is not personal legal advice. Every immigration case is different. If this topic affects you personally, you should speak with a qualified immigration attorney. With that said, let's take a deep breath and let's break this down calmly, clearly, and step by step. Now, over the past year, U.S. immigration agencies have been quietly preparing for major rule adjustments scheduled for 2026. These changes are not about creating new immigration categories overnight. Instead, they focus on compliance, monitoring, and enforcement for people who already have or are seeking lawful permanent residence. And that's why this matters so much. In the past, many immigrants believed that once you received a green card, you were safe forever unless you committed a serious crime. That belief is outdated. The key thing you need to understand is this. In 2026, compliance will matter more than it ever has before. So what exactly is changing? Let's start with the big picture. The U.S. government is moving toward a system that places stronger emphasis on continuous eligibility, not just initial approval. In simple terms, this means immigration authorities are paying closer attention to whether green card holders are continuing to follow the rules, not just whether they followed the rules when they applied. This shift affects several areas, including residency requirements, address reporting, employment consistency, benefit usage, and documentation accuracy. Now, let's talk about each of these calmly and clearly. First, residency compliance. Under current law, green card holders are required to maintain the United States as their primary residence. That rule has always existed, but enforcement has been inconsistent. Starting in 2026, immigration agencies are expected to actively cross-check travel records, tax filings, and residency data more frequently. So, what does that mean for you? If you spend long periods of time outside the U.S. without proper documentation, such as a re-entry permit, or if your travel patterns suggest that you are actually living abroad, this could raise red flags. Now, this does not mean that taking trips abroad is illegal. But here's why this matters. If immigration officers believe you have abandoned your permanent residence, they may question your status when you return to the U.S. Or worse, this issue could surface later when you apply for citizenship. And under the updated compliance approach, these reviews may happen earlier and more automatically than before. So, if you are a green card holder who travels frequently, lives part-time abroad, or supports family overseas, this is something you need to be very careful about. Next, let's talk about address reporting. Many people underestimate this requirement. Every non-citizen in the United States, including green card holders, is legally required to report a change of address to USCIS within a specific time frame. In the past, failure to update your address often went unnoticed. But in 2026, this is expected to change. Immigration systems are becoming more integrated. USCIS data is increasingly cross-referenced with DMV records, tax filings, employment data, and other government databases. Here's why this matters. If your address information does not match across systems, it may trigger compliance reviews, delays, or requests for evidence. And if USCIS sends you an important notice, such as a biometrics appointment, interview notice, or compliance request, and you miss it because your address was not updated, you could face serious consequences, including denial of future benefits. Now, let's move to employment compliance. For employment-based green card holders, 2026 changes place greater focus on whether the original basis for your green card is still valid. This does not mean you can never change jobs. but it does mean that significant changes shortly after approval, or patterns that suggest the job offer was never genuine, may be scrutinized more closely. Additionally, work authorization data is being monitored more carefully. If someone works without authorization, works in a way that violates their status, or misrepresents employment information, this can now follow them into green card reviews or future applications. And this brings us to a very important point. Many people think compliance only matters during the application process. That is no longer true. In 2026, past violations that were overlooked before may resurface during renewals, travel reviews, or naturalization applications. Now, let's talk about public benefits calmly and responsibly. There has been a lot of fear around this topic, so I want to be very clear. Not all public benefits affect immigration status. But under the updated framework, immigration agencies are expected to review benefit usage more consistently and more carefully, especially when it comes to benefits that are restricted to citizens or certain categories of immigrants. If someone knowingly uses benefits they are not eligible for, that can raise issues related to misrepresentation or public charge concerns. This does not mean you should avoid all assistance programs. But it does mean you should understand which benefits you are eligible for and consult a qualified professional before applying if you are unsure. Now, let's talk about documentation and honesty. One of the most significant shifts expected in 2026 is the increased use of data matching and automated reviews. This means that information you provided years ago on visa applications, adjustment of status forms, or employment filings may be compared against newer records. If inconsistencies are found, immigration officers may request clarification. Sometimes, these inconsistencies are innocent mistakes, but other times, they may be interpreted as misrepresentation. And here's the key thing you need to understand. Even small errors, if repeated or unexplained, can create serious problems when viewed together. So accuracy matters more than ever. Now, let's address the question that many of you are probably asking. What happens if you don't comply? The answer depends on the situation, but the potential consequences are serious enough that you should not ignore this. Noncompliance could lead to delays in applications, requests for evidence, interviews, or, in more serious cases, initiation of removal proceedings. For green card holders, this could mean being placed in proceedings to determine whether your permanent resident status should be revoked. For those applying for a green card, noncompliance could mean denial. For those planning to apply for U.S. citizenship, these issues could delay or completely block naturalization. And for undocumented individuals or mixed status families, increased compliance enforcement may indirectly affect household stability and future options. This is why staying informed is not optional anymore. No. Let's talk about what you should be doing right now. First, stay organized. Keep copies of all immigration documents, travel records, tax filings, employment letters, and address updates. Second, follow the rules as they currently exist. Do not rely on advice from social media, friends, or unverified sources. Third, if your situation has changed, such as long travel abroad, job changes, marital changes, or legal issues, it may be wise to speak with an immigration attorney before a problem arises. Fourth, prepare for the future. If you plan to apply for citizenship in the next few years, start reviewing your history now. Many people discover issues only when it's too late to fix them easily. Now, I want to speak directly to those of you who feel anxious or scared hearing this. Take a moment. This video is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to protect you. The U.S. immigration system is complex and changes often feel overwhelming. But knowledge gives you power. Most immigrants who follow the rules, stay honest, and seek guidance when needed do not face serious problems. The danger comes from ignoring requirements, assuming things don't matter, or waiting until an issue becomes urgent. And finally, let me say this. Immigration law is constantly evolving. 2026 will not be the end of change. It will simply be another chapter. Our goal here at American Visa Updates is to make sure you are informed, calm, and prepared, not confused or panicked. If this video helped you understand what's coming, please consider liking it so more people can find accurate information. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future updates that could affect you or your family. And if this topic applies to your personal situation, Please consult a qualified immigration attorney who can look at your specific facts and guide you properly. Thank you for trusting American Visa Updates. Stay informed, stay compliant, and take care of yourself and your family.